Today we're going to talk about why your ex is being so mean to you. And if you stick around until the very end of this video, not only am I going to be giving you some of the common things or situations we're finding our clients are in where their exes are mean to them, but more importantly, we're going to talk about the psychology of what's going on to cause your ex to be mean. Because once you understand what's going on with regards to your ex and why they're so mean to you, or why they have aggressive behavior towards you, or why they're being rude to you, you'll understand how you should approach them going forward. All right, so let's get something out of the way first. I think there's a huge misconception along a lot of the people who are watching our YouTube channel. Now, just to put it in perspective, most of the people who are watching our YouTube channel are in the process of breakups, meaning they've most of the time been broken up with by their exes and they're highly considering trying to reunite with that ex. And it's kind of important for me to tell you that oftentimes when an ex is getting angry at you, or they're being rude to you, or they're being mean to you, they're not just making up reasons to be mean to you. There usually is a legitimate reason for why they are. Now, I say this because we've noticed an alarming trend over the past few years. We noticed that a lot of people tend to victimize themselves with regards to their exes. So exes do this as well, so I'm not just saying like, hey, you're at fault here, but I am trying to make you realize that most of the time when an ex is being mean to you, in their head, they believe or create a narrative that makes sense to them that might not reflect reality, but in a weird way, it kind of does. It's a paradox. I think perhaps the most classic example of this is being angry at you, even though they were the ones to break up with you. So the important understanding here with this paradox, because I mean, it is a paradox. The fact that they broke up with you and they're angry at you because of it makes no sense. But here's how it works in their head. Ultimately, what we find is breakups are tough no matter who breaks up with who. You're going to go through almost this strange grieving process, and the grieving process is not linear. You will pogo stick around from the 5 stages of grief. And as you're going through this non-linear, messed up grieving situation, it makes complete sense to want to blame the source of this pain you're feeling. So oftentimes, even though your ex was the one to break up with you, they will look at you as the source of their pain when you are, weirdly enough, the victim. So having that basic understanding that in your ex's head, the reasons they're being mean to you or have aggressive behavior towards you always makes sense to them. They just might not make sense to you. All right, so what are some of the things or situations that we tend to find anger or an ex being mean to you occur often? Well, simply put, we find most of anger and mean behavior occurs when you implement a no contact rule on your ex. Now, if you've watched my video on YouTube where I talk about the stages of no contact, basically the stages that a human being goes through when you use the no contact rule on them, you will kind of have an understanding of why anger occurs. So to give you a quick crash course, there are many different stages that exes will go through during a no contact rule if you're successfully using it on them. The first stage is usually they're calm and assured of their decision. Usually they're the ones to break up with you, so they don't really begin to notice that you're no contacting them until a little bit of time goes by. But when they do notice that they're being ignored, they begin to worry because they haven't heard from you. You see, in your ex's head, especially if they're the ones to break up with you, they create this narrative. And the narrative is, this person that I broke up with is going to be so depressed without me. They're probably going to be sitting on a couch, eating ice cream, crying their eyes out over me, while I'm gonna go have fun and party over here. Yet when that doesn't seem to be unfolding, they begin to worry because what could you be doing that is so important that you're not begging for them back? And then once they realize they're being ignored, stage 3 commences, where they actually get angry about the fact that they're being ignored. And this is oftentimes when you get the angry responses during a no contact rule. This is where your ex tries to guilt you into breaking no contact to talk to them. This is oftentimes when your ex is saying, oh, real mature. I thought you said I was the immature one, but look at you, you can't even talk to me. So it's kind of an anger laced with guilt type of text message. Sometimes your ex will even go as far as showing up at your house to yell at you. Sometimes they'll show up at your work to yell at you. Sometimes they'll write you a letter to yell at you. You kind of get the trend here. So oftentimes implementing a no contact rule in and of itself is going to make an ex angry, but the important thing of understanding with no contact is that the anger is kind of short-lived, because then they go through this process where they're like, well, okay, fine, I'm going to be stubborn. I'm not going to contact you at all. And then once that process is done, they begin to kind of hope you're going to contact them. So like I said, it's kind of this crazy roller coaster of emotions, but if you're using a no contact rule and your ex is angry at you or being mean to you, one of the worst things you can do is actually respond to them, because all you end up doing is reinforcing that aggressive and rude and mean behavior. Your best bet is to stick to your guns and stick to your strategy. Now let's talk about the most important part of exes being mean to you, and that's the psychology. A couple of months ago, Coach Anna and I did an interview where we basically sat down for an hour and talked about everything that we could think about with regards to exes being angry or mad at you. And Coach Anna had a really interesting take that I thought was so unique and so true. And the odd part is no one ever really talks about anger in this way. So the first thing you really need to understand about anger is that it's almost a positive. So it has this positive characteristics to it. And this almost makes anger an addictive pattern to fall into. So we'll give you an example. Let's say someone says, "You're stupid." Well, what's implied there when they say that is they're saying, "You're stupid and I'm smart." So in a weird way, it's kind of like this ego boost. Here's another example. Your ex says, "Well, you're selfish." Well, what they're really implying is that they're generous. "You're behaving like a child" means I'm behaving like an adult. So this is actually why people, we think, get angry so easily. And they stay angry because it feels good and it's personally validating. So the ultimate insight that I would have for you with regards to aggressive, mean behavior by your ex is that it's a coping mechanism that allows them to put all the blame onto you instead of onto themselves. Them being mean to you makes them feel good about themselves. So aggressive behavior at the same time will protect themselves from feeling sadness or shame. And any of us who have lived long enough and who have gotten angry and have exhibited aggressive behavior can actually begin to nod our heads and say, wow, that's right. Because I'm not sure about you, but if you've ever been angry at someone for ridiculous reasons, oftentimes you are aware that the reason and the paradox present of why you're being angry at them is sort of ridiculous. It makes no sense. So why do you keep doing it? Well, it's kind of our body or our mind's way of coping with the fact that we don't want to feel or deal with the guilt, the sadness, the shame that goes into whatever the situation caused. And it just so happens that breakups are a prime candidate for this type of aggressive, mean behavior from an ex to actually occur. Rather than thinking about what they did wrong in the relationship, rather than thinking about why maybe the relationship was toxic because of their behavior, they would like to put the blame on you because it prevents them from thinking about it, and at the same time gives them a bit of an ego boost. By saying you're stupid or that's ridiculous or that you're dumb, they're saying I'm smart and I'm not ridiculous and I'm extremely smart. So you get what I'm saying here. Oftentimes there's an underlying psychological ego boost that goes into becoming angry. And at this point, when you're getting like this positive feedback internally, when you're angry, you just keep being angry. You just keep being mean. And it's important to recognize that this is oftentimes the catalyst, the ultimate thing that no one ever talks about, but it is thought about when your ex is being mean to you. Now, if you're in a situation where your ex is being mean to you and you're really not sure if you should be getting this person back, probably the best place I would advise you to start is on our website, www.exgirlfriendrecovery.com. There, I put together a special quiz designed to tell you what kind of chance you have of getting your ex back. And all you have to do if you're interested in taking this quiz is simply look in the description link below this YouTube video and click the link you see there. Also, if you haven't subscribed to our YouTube channel, please do so. I know I bugged you about that a little bit earlier. We're trying to make a more conscious effort of getting more subscribers to our YouTube channel to help boost our rankings and boost our following, because we've been really bad at that. So if it's not too much trouble, just look below and click the subscribe button and that bell notification so that you can get updated anytime we come out with a new video. I'll see you next time.